After a long absence, Berghaus have re-entered the technical, more performance end of the outdoor market with the relaunch this year in a big way of the Extrem series. It makes sense to start at the top of the series, so we're looking here at the Mtn Guide GTX Pro jacket. At £500, this burly mountaineering shed is a bit of a statement of intent from a brand that's just refinding its mountaineering feat. First, and perhaps most obviously, there's the fit. As you can see, the hem comes well below waist level at the front and drops at the rear to almost cover my bum. This is really good in wet weather. It just means it keeps the top of your trousers warmer, and obviously in colder, windy conditions, it just keeps you that bit better protected. I'm not a fan of a shorter hem length in a winter mountain jacket, so top marks to Berghaus there. The jacket's also sized generously, so it fits over multiple winter insulating layers underneath, which is definitely what you want. Sleeves have lots of length for climbing, and as you see, there's a differential cut on the wrist here so that the back of your hand is better covered. There's also loads of room in the wrist, so you can fit these easily over big bulky mountaineering gloves. Articulation in the sleeves is fantastic. You can raise your arms climbing, and there's really very minimal hem lift, which is fantastic. And I also find that there's a minimal slippage out from a harness when you're climbing, which is really a basic essential for a climbing jacket, but something that some brands do seem to struggle with. The Roomy Hood pulls up very easily over a big climbing helmet. There's no restriction on head movement. You can look up, down, side to side perfectly happily. If you're not wearing a helmet, the 3 points of adjustment help it cinch in close to your helmet-free head. I do find the peak is a little bit oversized without a helmet there to hold it back, so it does tend to flop over my eyes a bit. That's something that maybe the designers could look at changing for the next iteration. The business end of the jacket is 70 denier Gore-Tex Pro fabric. Now Berghaus have used two different sorts here. Gore Pro most rugged for most of the jacket. This does what it says on the tin. And then you get Gore Pro stretch. It's a really good combination which helps you feel well protected from the elements and will also stand up to plenty of Scottish mixed climbing abuse. But it doesn't feel too rigid or armour-like. You get plenty of freedom of movement as well as weather protection. Summed up in one word, the fabric feels bomb-proof. With its beefy fabric, it's going to come as no surprise that this is quite a weighty shell, coming in here in my size large jacket at 662 grams. This really isn't designed as a skimpy, fast and light piece. As I say, bomb-proof is the word. If you do find yourself warming up, the big pit zips do a really effective job at venting the jacket. The main zip, meanwhile, is chunky and really sort of confidence inspiring. And there's an internal and an external storm flap, which is kind of like belt and braces for weather protection. If you like zips, you're in for a treat because this jacket is literally also covered in pockets. You've got two spacious Napoleon pockets here, which are big enough for insulated ski gloves, say, and you can just about get an OS size map in there as well. Backing those, two large hand pockets. Again, plenty of room for gloves and hats and stuff like that. Moving inside, Berghaus have given you two stretchy mesh dump pockets for, say, your skins when you're ski touring, or shoving your climbing gloves in when you're on the belay, keeping them warm. And a nice interesting touch here is the addition of an insulated inner pocket for keeping your phone warm, just to keep the battery alive in the cold. There's nothing worse than the battery draining because it's on the outside of your jacket. So that's an interesting addition from Berghaus there, and not something I've seen before in a shell. So the Mtn Guide GTX Pro is a solid and credible offering from Berghaus as they look to carve themselves out a ledge at the high end of the market. Well cut, solid, protective. It's really designed for the worst of conditions, with plenty of features to keep even the most ardent mountaineer happy. It's not a lightweight jacket, and it's not going to go light on your wallet either, but this is a mountaineering maximalist that's really designed for the worst of conditions, and it's ideal for Scottish winter.